2022. Stay in the know. Get the full event lineup at piratesfestcayman.com.
Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health. And JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees so fair. Today is Friday, the 25th day of November 2022, right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. I'm going to alter my monologue this morning slightly because I want to give as much time as possible to our guests in the studio because we will be discussing very, very important developments here in the Cayman Islands. So first of all, I want to welcome all of you to For the Record. Those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday. And to remind you that the For the Record birthday shoutouts are proudly brought to you by life insurance agents Michael Webster from Cayman Insurance Center. And his advice to you is live your best life and make sure your family can too. Those persons celebrating a birthday today on Facebook, we see Troy Brady, Miss Debbie Rankin, Mr. Frank Cornwall, Tyron Dilbert is, Frank Cornwall is celebrating one on the 26th, sorry. Tyron Dilbert on the 26th, Victor Voot Ogaro on the 26th, Abijah Ramon on the 26th, and Satar Mass on the 26th as well. In the studio with me this morning, we have Minister Andre Ebanks. Also in the studio with us, Mr. Ian Tibbetts, who's the Director of E-Government, of the E-Government Unit, and Mr. Charles Brown, the Deputy Chief Officer, Acting Deputy Chief Officer, I believe, we'll work on the deputy part of it. Deputy Chief Officer in the ministry as well. So, gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. Good morning, sir.
Okay, just a little housekeeping before I pass over to the minister. We're going to hold off on calls for now as well. We got a little late start, and also the minister has to be in Parliament this morning, plus there are other meetings that are scheduled as well. So, Minister, good morning. Welcome. Back home, I should say.
Good morning to you, sir. Good morning to the listening public, and good morning to Caymanians overseas.
Okay.
You're right. It's a pleasure to be home. I've completed recently almost a 16, 17-day overseas engagement trip that took me from the Bahamas, where the Caribbean Regional Compliance Association had a conference, and they wanted me to speak because that conference moves around the Caribbean, and next year it's in Cayman. So they wanted me to give a warm welcome to the conference next year, then engage with Bahamian counterparts, and then I moved to London. From there, had a range of stakeholder engagements, including the Speaker of the UK Parliament. Had invited OT premiers initially for the Joint Ministerial Conference, but it was cancelled, to see Prime Minister questions live, and that was an experience to see that live. And then moved over to engagements in Brussels, including appearing before the EU Parliament's FIS Tax Subcommittee, which was also a fascinating experience.
Yes. Did see that on YouTube as well. I was able to follow that. Okay, so we're going to be talking about our national identification system this morning as well, and I think you may want to touch base on the recent news coming out of the European Union and the Court of Justice of the European Union's decision in relation to beneficial ownership.
Oh, okay. So that's still in relation to the Sister Ministry Financial Services.
And when I shared that with one of my colleagues, they said it was so unfortunate that decision hadn't been announced while you were there
in Brussels.
Yes, in Brussels.
That's an interesting comment. I didn't initially think of it that way. From a personal perspective, I'm kind of glad it didn't, because I was eager to come home to my family, and had it arrived while I was in Brussels, the Premier might have said, "You need to stay longer," and have more dialogue. So I was very eager to come home. Okay. I missed home.
Yeah.
But on a serious note, it is an interesting decision. So where the impact for that is in relation to, or the potential impact is in relation to, a very consultative stage we have now for our beneficial ownership legislation. So it's not a gazetted bill as yet. It's being circulated consultatively with industry, which has a few components. The first component is that the beneficial ownership rules have been put in each vehicle or entity legislation over time, and it's become sort of piecemeal. So the idea is to consolidate one bill with all the beneficial ownership rules for all the entities in one place that everybody could find.
Okay.
In addition to that, there are some evolving FATF standards that are going to be addressed. And then there's a last consultative piece was in relation to public, whether there should be public access. Yeah. That's the component that the judgment relates to, not the other components.
Right. Yes.
So I haven't had a chance to read the full judgment yet. I plan to use at my quiet reading time, it's one of the things on my list, to fully analyze the judgment. Some of the team in Ministry of Financial Services have taken a view. We'll have to see how that then impacts our consultative process and our overall analysis. So it's premature to have any detailed comments, but it certainly is something of note, so I can see why you raised it.
Certainly. Ms. Susan, we're going to take that break early so that when we get back into the conversation, we can go without interruption right up until the 8 o'clock news. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Black Friday low price specials have started at Brand Source Home Gallery. Save on selected gas and electric laundry centers and laundry pairs. GE 27-inch gas laundry center only $1,199 and the electric $1,399. GE 24-inch front load laundry pair $1,879. Save up to $700 with special Black Friday prices. Now is the opportunity to replace the old laundry and save big. Hurry, limited quantities and these low prices end Saturday the 26th. Visit Brand Source Home Gallery at 209 Dorsey Drive in Industrial Park or call 623-5000 for details.
Get your running shoes on, ruffle your tail feathers, and prepare to work off that extra helping of turkey dinner while giving back in a big way this Thanksgiving season. Registration is now open for the 7th annual Meals on Wheels 5K Turkey Truck Fundraising Run Walk. Walk, run, or waddle. Don't miss it. Saturday, November 26th, starting and ending at Grand Ole House, South Church Street. Registration is open to all ages. Join our sponsors, Grand Ole House, Western Resort, Kirk Market, Progressive Distributors, Cafe Del Sol, and Radio Cayman as they support Meals on Wheels in the fight to end senior hunger in the Cayman Islands. Register today online at www.mealsonwheels.ky or call 769-1974 for more information. See you at the start line.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Under Commissioner Cardinal, road and building development continued to grow on the islands. For a number of building projects, Commissioner Cardinal turned to the shipwright and builder, Mr. Rael B. Bodden. Bodden had a unique style, mixing local and imported materials, combining native hardwoods and hand-molded concrete blocks made with Jamaican cement. During the 1920s, Bodden had built the Wooden Peace Memorial Town Hall and the concrete and wood Elmsley Memorial Church. Bodden would also be involved in the construction of the public library and post office, which opened in 1939. During World War II, Rail Bodden was commissioned by the U.S. Navy to build 2 162-ton minesweepers. These commissions and the needs of the U.S. Navy greatly assisted with replenishing the government revenues.
Radio Cayman's historical vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
The Rotary Central Music Extravaganza is Saturday, November 26th. Your ticket, your chance, your prize. Grand prize, $40,000. Second prize, $4,000. 6 $1,000 prizes and more. Get your $25 tickets now through Rotary Central members, Rotary Central ticket sellers, eventpro.ky, or WhatsApp Rotarian Annie Rose Scott in Cayman Brac at 916-7310. The Rotary Music Extravaganza at Salty's Grand Harbor. Performances by Heat, Fabulous 68 and CNB. November 26th, you can be the winner. Proceeds fund Rotary Central Community Projects. Rotary Central NPO number 232. Rotary, all the good you imagine.
We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle. And with the Toyota Corolla Cross now at Vant Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design in a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vant Motors, Walkers Road.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay.
No one can stop me when I taste the feel.
Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
J&M Money touching down again. Now you can send your US dollars at any location on island, including the BRAC. It's easy. Just walk with your US dollars. No need to convert to CI. This is another convenient service available at J&M Money. They always find a way to make it easier and hassle-free. So remember, when you need to send your money and you only have US dollars, don't ever think of what to do. Just head straight to any J&M Money location and send your money the fast, convenient, and affordable J&M Money. J&M Money, touching down again. J&M Money, ranga to la friend.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you are remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Increase your chance to win during the Rubis Pure Joy promotion. Don't miss Top Up Tuesdays at Jose's Rubis. Reflections offers you gas for less. Earn a stamp each time you spend $25 at Jose's Rubis. Collect all 8 stamps and you're entered to win cash, laptops, phones, and smart TVs during the Rubis weekly giveaways. Plus a grand prize of a piece of land in Grand Cayman, valued at $150,000.
What? Are you serious?
Ensure that you're healthy and fit before you visit with family and friends. Reflections offers 2 lateral flow test kits or 10 stylish black surgical masks for only $10. Purchase Reflections gift certificates for your loved ones and get entered to win a $150,000 piece of land during the Rubis Pure Joy promotion at Jose's Rubis.
With costs and insecurities rising, staying grounded and focused is what your family needs. Life insurance covers your family and mortgage protection. Peace of mind is mental health awareness.
Life insurance, the sure way to protect your family. I'm Michael Webster. Don't take chances with your family's future or your valuable assets. Cayman Insurance Center, protecting you and your family so you can take back your future. I'm Michael Webster. Let's discuss your peace of mind today. Call me at 925-5433. Think life insurance.
System 1 loaded. 1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Minister Andre Ebanks, Mr. Ian Tibbetts, and Mr. Charles Brown. We're talking about the National Identification Program. And because of the constraints of time, I'm going to throw the mic right back over to you, Minister.
Thank you, sir. Just on the constraints of time, because you did mention at the top of the broadcast that we have a special meeting of Parliament this morning, which contributes to the time constraints. So I think if we can, we should try to work out some time on Monday.
Yes,
because this is an important topic. It's dealing with important legislation, so I don't want to cut it short and make you feel stressed and make the listening
exactly.
Yes,
yes,
feel stressed.
No, we will
see if we can
find a way to
some
continue it. Yes,
time on Monday.
Definitely.
And just before we get into it, in the break, I thought of one other thing I just want to mention about the trip was Cayman Day in London. Was fantastic this year. I just want to take 30 seconds to say that. It's amazing to see the celebration of Caymanian culture, food, art, music on display in London. And I'm getting to the stage now where my friends' children are university students. It takes me back to when I was in university, and you can look and say, oh gosh, that's so-and-so's daughter, and they're full-grown adult living their life. So it was a pretty special moment. I hope it grows, and I hope the Minister for Culture comes on to talk more about it, because I was just there because I just happened to be in London, so I thought I'm Caymanian, I should go to Cayman Day. So it really was my event per se.
Yes.
But I think the Minister of Culture, it would be great if he shared a bit, because I think the public might be interested in that.
Okay.
In relation to digital ID, let's get right to it. So I want to take the public back to the beginning of the administration, where the new minister coming in and you're getting a list of projects that have been in train or in progress in prior administrations. And I'd always sort of taken the view that I didn't want to reject something just out of hand because a prior administration had done it. So I know that there has been talk about, say, digital, what they call KYC, know your customer due diligence, in financial services circles when I was a senior advisor in financial services. But I can't say I really came across the concept in the past of a project of a national ID. So just like with any of the other projects, don't want to dismiss it out of hand, but I also need to be convinced of the merits of it for myself. And then upon hearing it, I thought to myself, okay, so you have a national ID. I already have other IDs. I've got my passport, I've got my driver's license, I got my voter registration. So, gentlemen, why is this one so special? What really jumped out at me, and we'll talk about other features, but what really jumped out at me is that for the first time, and this might jump out at you in your former civil service role as Chief of Immigration, is that you'd have an innovative tool that will have several features that we'll come on to. But for the first time, as far as I'm aware of, you can have a national ID in your pocket that says that you are Caymanian in one document. So rather than me having to carry around 5 or 6 documents every time I go to immigration or other departments to prove I'm Caymanian, where you've been there behind the glass, a big paper file comes out, they unwind it, they go through everything. You don't get it right the first time, you forgot something that has to be notarized, you got to go back, bring it back, start all over again, hope you get it right this time. Takes time, energy, you have to keep track of these documents. What happens if you lose one? Then you got to go resource that document. The ability to have one ID that one's verified as a Caymanian and have Caymanian on it, and that's my ID that I'm Caymanian, I thought was a very powerful tool. It'll also, I think, bring to a decision point those Caymanians that there's all sorts of unfortunate euphemisms about. Let's just say unacknowledged Caymanians, to not force, but motivate a decision point for any legislative or regulatory adjustments that needs to be made to acknowledge them so that they can then expressly enjoy the privileges of full citizenship. That, and have a unique identifier code, because I'm aware of at least one other Andre Ebanks. And I've had his mail, I've had some very personal stuff. I don't know what he's ever had in relation to me.
Yes.
We know each other. He was actually, coincidentally, he was at Cayman Day. And we talked about it. We worked together at Appleby. Things got mixed up all the time.
Wow.
So to have an ID that has a unique identifier code, says I'm Caymanian, can swipe and positively identify that it's me, I thought was a really powerful feature. In addition to that, you also have the components where a small core of identification to identify you, which Border Control and Immigration already has, in a register for Caymanians, permanent residents, those who are legally resident here. And I can volunteer, I'm not forced by government, that I want to sign up for the ID, I can do so. If I'm not there yet and don't feel it's necessary and I'm happy with the other documents that I carry around, you don't have to do it. So the fact that this is also voluntary, I thought was also extremely powerful tool than to try to compel people to do this, because I kind of find that unless it's something that's really, really pressing that the government or the state needs, it just doesn't feel right. It feels as if individuals will just, and quite understandably, reject it on principle. The fact that I can show that I'm Caymanian, all of the data for all of those categories of persons are in a register, which provides a bunch of other benefits, and then I can volunteer for the card. I can then volunteer to add additional details to my heart's content in a system where I can verify how the data is being used, can see who's accessed my data, be able to have more financial freedom. We talked about at the top of the show, which is kind of related, all of the due diligence requirements, which I was expressing to the EU Parliament that exist in Cayman, getting to a point in the country where it's hard for Caymanians to open or switch bank accounts because of the rigorous due diligence from international standards. To be able to have my KYC or know your customer data that I can add at my decision, and then be able to then decide, okay, I would like Bank A to have this, and if I want to establish a bank account with Bank B, I can let them have it at my decision and move it over swiftly so that they can just access it without me bringing all of the documents in all over again.
Right.
And that's for me, for someone who's an existing bank holder. We also need to think about other demographics, older persons, some who have not been banked yet, I think you all these gentlemen here have another consultative meeting with the Bankers Association, so how we can motivate financial inclusion so that we can agree on a subset of data where the banks can be comfortable who this individual is, provide them with an ID card, because some of our folks don't have passports.
Yes.
And even if you did, that doesn't necessarily prove you're Caymanian, nor does it necessarily a voter registration card and not a driver's license. So you also have the ability to include folks who are outside of systems that can now be included. You have students who, some of them, their only ID is a passport. If they lose that, then what happens? They're stuck until it comes back, and they have no other travel document. This ID will have, and we might be able to show a picture of it, maybe that's something we could come back to, that has the same sort of QR code that a passport has, or code, that's swipeable code, that a passport has, could have the same information. So then you have the advantage of, rather than trying to keep track of 5 different documents and bringing the 5 or 6 different documents to different departments, you just have one that can represent or hold your national ID, your driver's license, your voter registration card, all in one document.
Okay. Going to interrupt you there because we have to go to our 8 o'clock news, folks. Please stay tuned. When we return, the conversation with Minister Andre Ebanks, Mr. Ian Tibbetts, and Mr. Charles Brown will continue, so please stay tuned.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time by Price Right is a minute after 8.
The wait is over. Priced Right's Black Friday sale is now on.
Get our biggest deals of the year on TVs, electronics, kitchen appliances, homewares, groceries, and more.
Save up to $280 on Samsung TVs.
Save $340 on the Rydell Tripster electric bike. And save big on a range of Bluetooth speakers, sheets, and curtains, and so much more.
But hurry, sale ends Wednesday, the 30th of November.
Find all the deals at pricedright.ky.
Live better for less this Black Friday at Priced Right.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Traffic delays were reported to Radio Cayman this morning after a 3-car smash on Shamrock Road near Spots just before Coral Bay Village. 911 confirms the call came in shortly before 7 a.m. No injuries were reported. This morning, Cayman's MPs will select a new Speaker of the House and a new Deputy Speaker in a special session of Parliament. A government motion regarding the composition of the Public Accounts Committee is also on the agenda. Radio Cayman will carry the session live on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM. It's due to start at 10 a.m. In other news, 16 days of activism against gender-based violence begin today, and to support the cause, the Gender Affairs Unit is partnering with the University of the West Indies Open Campus Cayman site to present a half-day workshop for women interested in opening their own small business.
Assisting women to become economically empowered and financially independent is one tool which can be utilized in the fight against GBV.
GBV, of course, is gender-based violence. Carlene Bramwell tells Radio Cayman the free workshop falls in line with the United Nations Women's Entrepreneurial Day and #ChooseWomen campaign.
Women's economic empowerment is central to realizing women's rights and gender equality.
Participants will have the opportunity to learn theory, skills, and techniques, as well as information on local resources and legal regulations and procedures. The event will be held on November 30th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. To register, you can call 244-3606 or email genderequality@gov.ky. Registration closes on Sunday, November 27th. And the Ministry of Finance holds a special International Thanksgiving event on Thursday in the cafeteria of the Government Administration Building.
This year we wanted to do something a little different to honor not just our American counterparts, but all of the countries represented by our ministry. We decided on an international fest, and so all the countries represented were invited to set up a booth and offer foods that were from their culture.
Raquel Solomon says 11 different countries were represented, celebrating the melting pot of nationalities.
It's good to recognize our differences, but also to see the similarities. A lot of the cuisine that's on display here, you see the commonalities across the Caribbean in particular, the types of sweets, the type of pastries, the types of dishes, all wonderful, all excellent, all very tasty. So this is a wonderful experience.
Chief Officer Dax Basteo there, audio courtesy of CID-TV. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Moira Alderson.
The United Nations Human Rights Chief has urged both Russia and Ukraine to ensure that prisoners of war are treated humanely. Volker Turk said UN monitors were examining videos of alleged summary executions of prisoners by both sides, and some were highly likely to be authentic. Ukraine's First Lady Olena Zelenska has said Ukrainians are prepared to endure the cold and blackouts caused by Russian missile attacks rather than surrender. Russia's bombardment of critical civilian infrastructure has disrupted electricity and water supplies for millions of people. The Prime Minister-designate of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, has signed a coalition agreement with a far-right Jewish nationalist party. Its leader, Itamar Ben-Gvir, is likely to serve as Minister of National Security. He has a past conviction for racism against Arabs. The Prime Minister of Saint-Thomé-et-Príncipe says there has been a failed coup attempt. Patrice Trovoada said 4 men tried to attack the army headquarters in the West African island nation. An Australian inquiry has strongly criticised the former Prime Minister Scott Morrison for secretly appointing himself to 5 cabinet posts during the COVID pandemic. A report said his actions had corroded trust in government. A court in Hong Kong has found a 90-year-old Roman Catholic cardinal guilty of failing to register a fund to help people arrested in anti-government protests. Cardinal Joseph Zen was fined more than $500. The Chinese-Canadian pop singer Chris Wu has been convicted of sex crimes and sentenced to 13 years in prison by a court in Beijing. He was found guilty of raping 3 women. Iran have beaten Wales 2-0 at the World Cup in Qatar, with both goals coming in the final minutes of injury time. The Welsh goalkeeper was sent off for a foul in the second half, the first red card of the tournament. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Black Friday low price specials have started at Brand Source Home Gallery. Save on selected gas and electric laundry centers and laundry pairs. GE 27-inch gas laundry center only $1,199 and the electric $1,399. GE 24-inch front load laundry pair $1,879. Save up to $700 with special Black Friday prices. Now is the opportunity to replace the old laundry and save big. Hurry, limited quantities and these low prices end Saturday the 26th. Visit Brand Source Home Gallery at 209 Dorsey Drive in Industrial Park or call 623-5000 for details.
Health Services Authority is now offering online payment options for patients. Patients of HSA can now pay their bills, including deposits, towards scheduled services online at payments.hsa.ky. The secure, new online payment system accepts debit or credit cards and is in addition to the available payment options of cash, check, and online bank transfer. For quick, easy, and secure payment directly from your phone or computer, visit HSA's new online payment system at payments.hsa.ky.
PiratesFestCayman.com. Get the full 2022 Pirates Fest lineup. The Department of Environmental Health would like to advise Buttontown residents to get their bulk waste ready for collection from November 21st to 26th. Household appliances, furniture, and other items too large to be handled by weekly DEH collective crews should be placed by the roadside where it's easily accessible to DEH collection crews. Metals and vegetations should also be separated from other bulk items. Do not obstruct the roadway or storm drains, or place tires, construction, and demolition waste, hazardous materials, or electronics. For more information on the Buttontown bulk waste collection from November 21st to 26th, please contact DEH's Solid Waste Management Section at 949-6696.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
Good morning, everyone. Hello? Hello? Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Okay, I see we have just about everyone, and of course Tom drops off, as per usual. Let's just wait a minute here. He always comes right back, and we're almost ready, and... oh, whoever's dog that is, please go on mute. Why won't it let me share my screen? Okay, looks like we're ready to start.
We're like a video conference with no technical issues. CG Britcay. Good like that.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 81 degrees. Relative humidity is 86%. The barometric pressure is 29.95 inches and rising. The wind is out of the east at 5 knots. Overnight low temperature was 78 degrees. Synopsis indicate light to moderate northeasterly winds and seas expected to continue across the Cayman area for the next few days in association with a weak pressure gradient over the northwest Caribbean. Satellite images show isolated showers around the Cayman area, which are moving towards the west. Now, the forecast for today calling for partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of showers, and temperatures will be in the upper 80s today. Winds will be east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Pretty much the same for tonight, partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of showers and temperatures falling to the mid-70s tonight. Winds will be east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Today's high tide will occur this morning at 10:58, low tide this evening at 3 minutes past 5, and a high tide again tonight at 10. The sun will set this evening at 5:44 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6:40. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Sunday evening.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
Head east on Cove Road. Sharp left on Church Street. Sharper left. No, your other left. Did I say left? Nope, you missed it. Okay, I'm lost.
With money-saving bundling options for home and motor, we're like a GPS that doesn't steer you wrong. CG Britcay. Good like that.
Let's stop and ask for directions.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look at what's happening on our roads. Busy traffic coming from the east on Shamrock Road, just past the Tomlinson roundabout, and also on the Linford Pearson Highway. Slight delays expected. Busy traffic coming off of Agnes Way as well as Bobby Thompson Way, and traffic is busy on Cool Road heading to Georgetown, and slow-moving traffic heading to Georgetown on Walker's Road. As we look to Godfrey Nixon Way and Easton Avenue, traffic is moderate in both directions. And coming off of the Esterly Tibbetts Highway, traffic is busy. Steady traffic on Northtown Road. Looking back in downtown Georgetown on Edward Street, moving on pretty good, as well as on Shedden Road. Light to moderate traffic flow on Owen Roberts Drive, and coming from the Westway four-way stop, traffic is flowing at a good pace. That's what's shaking on your traffic this morning. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12 o'clock. We'll give you another traffic report.
When you're craving something big, something tasty that gives you that lip-smacking satisfaction, something that hits the spot, there is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
It's pretty tasty.
Filling and full of flavor. Try our new sweet onion steak teriyaki with a twist, or the classic chicken teriyaki. Top it with green pepper, onions, cheese, and that sweet onion teriyaki sauce, all piled on your favorite artisanal bread. Satisfy that craving with a footlong from Subway.
Fresh, delicious, tasty, meaty.
Let's make it a meal with a drink, chips, and cookies. There is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
I
hear Le Classique in the Strand having sale.
That's right, 25% or 50% off everything in the store, and shoes as low as $10 and $20.
One day only, Black Friday blowout sale at Le Classique in the Strand. Yes, child, all shoes for men, all shoes for women, all jewelry, all bags, all wallets on sale for one day only.
Everything is 25% or 50% off store-wide. I got to make my way down to Le Classique in the Strand because it's only for one day.
If you're working, you better call in sick.
Friday, November 25th, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. One day only at Le Classique in the Strand Shopping Complex.
A month of Sundays means a very long time. What is a week of Black Fridays? It is 8 days of super savings at A.L. Thompson's beginning Friday, November 18th at 6 a.m. During Black Friday week, you can take advantage of deep discounts on electronics, appliances, home decor, and tools. We invite you to review 8 pages of products in the Black Friday week flyer on althompson.com and to shop at your convenience at A.L. Thompson's, Georgetown.
Water Authority Cayman wishes to advise its customers and the motoring public of wastewater infrastructure upgrade works along West Bay Road adjacent to Governors Square. Preliminary activities will take place with the main works beginning on Monday 21st November. These works are anticipated to last 2 weeks. During this time, access to the southbound lane along West Bay Road will be somewhat but not entirely restricted. Traffic signs will be in place in the general vicinity of the works. All motorists are asked to drive with caution to ensure their own safety as well as the safety of the Water Authority staff. The Water Authority appreciates the patience and understanding of its customers and the public as it upgrades its wastewater infrastructure and apologizes for any inconvenience caused.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Honorable Andre Banks, Minister. Also with us, Mr. Ian Tibbetts, who's the Director of E-Government of the E-Government Unit, and Mr. Charles Brown, who's the Deputy Chief Officer in the Ministry, Acting Chief Officer in the Ministry. Minister, back over to you.
Again.
Yep.
Well, thank you. I think we agreed in the break that we'll return due to time constraints. You have a 8:30 or 8:45 coming up. Mm-hmm. That will return on Monday.
Yes.
Same topic, 7:30 to about 9 a.m. And what we can do in this segment, which I believe is uninterrupted for about the next 25 minutes, is maybe give an overview of the two bills, some of the technological aspects. And then in the meantime, you will get probably messages or emails over in the intervening period. And then on Monday, we can come back to address those. So that
Precisely.
We can
that sounds
break
great.
This down. Lord works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
So lemons to lemonade. Yeah. So I'll turn it over to the DCO. I've set out in the last segment the sort of broad strategic objectives, some of the key features, and what drew me to this project that has been in train probably since 2015, 2014?
Well, the concept was from 2015, but I think it started in earnest probably in 2018.
2018, yeah. So it's been sort of a concept for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll let you, now that we've brought that concept into draft legislation, let's go through some of the key features and aspects of the bills.
Thank you, Minister. So, as the Minister alluded to, the bills are broken up into two bills that work together. They're interconnected. One is the register bill that establishes the identification register for all persons legally and ordinarily resident in the Cayman Islands.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really just a minimum data set of a person's identity information that is held centrally. And this is the unique feature that this bill creates. One place now stored, and also establishes the ability for other enactments of other laws to be fulfilled using or querying this basic information that's held in the central place. So it's a concept of data minimization, essentially, that instead of your minimum data set, your ID data being in multiple places across government, now you can have it centralized. Yeah. And you can access it, you can see it. It's transparent. You can also see who has accessed your data for the first time. So it allows that interoperability piece. It allows you to provide to prove certain facts about yourself, just either by on your own volition or to satisfy another enactment. The ID card works with that in that it has a smaller yet still set of data that's printed on the physical card. So for instance, your address information is not printed on the card because that changes quite a bit. And the digital capabilities that are embedded into the card allow for the individual to share some of the larger data set that is on the register, like address information, if they so choose. So there's things like emergency contact information on there for a child if you wanted to share that type of information. So that's basically how they come together, with the capability to actually query, and the querying across government is now a pivotal feature. We call it interoperability. I think Ian can speak a little bit more to that. But that's in a very short summary how the two bills interact and work together.
And just to reiterate, because there may be folks tuning in who didn't hear the prior segment. So once that minimum set of data is in the register, which work/border control already has now on everyone. So this isn't new data. This is data that already is in government's hands. The card feature is optional. So once that data set and that register is created, that's it, that database is created in a centralized fashion, the way that the acting DCO has said. You as the resident have the option to have the card, so it's voluntary. And the basic minimum ID details, just to flesh that out so folks have an idea in their mind. It's full name, date of birth, nationality, sex, immigration status, and your unique ID code. That's all.
And that ID code is what allows you now to be considered uniquely in different areas of government.
So my prior example of two Andre Ebanks, at least one I know of, there could be more. Each of us, Andres, would have our own unique ID code that distinguish us from each other.
Right. So when you fill out a form right now, on the piece of paper you have to prove who you are, or you prove physically in person. So that's why they have to ask for what's your date of birth, what's your exact name, first name, last name. Like you can ask even where were you born. That's all to try and get an understanding of who you are, but you tend to have to overshare a lot of information just to do that. This allows you to uniquely be identified via that ID code.
Got you. Mr. Tibbetts.
And I think, when it comes down to the ID code, if you think about the way we try to identify people across systems today, it is a combination of names, date of birth, place of birth oftentimes. And so you're trying to ensure that you're providing the information, or let's think about a medical situation. They're trying to ensure they're treating the right Andre Ebanks.
Yes.
So those situations, if you don't have something that allows you to quickly get to the right unique individual, can be life-threatening in those cases. And obviously it can be embarrassing in other situations, but and I think that's where the ability to have that unique identifier, and that's the piece that you'd put in different places. So people tend to think that, like I just used that example about medical. People tend to think, you're going to put all of his medical data in the central location. No. In the essentially in that register, what we have is his basic identification information. In the medical facilities, etc., they can choose to add his identification code to his patient record, so that when he arrives there, presents his ID card, they know exactly which Andre Ebanks to treat, or vice versa. But his medical data never comes back to the center.
Nothing comes back.
Nothing comes back.
So there's no ballooning of the central register.
Yes,
that's an important point, because we could probably set out the consultation efforts that have happened, but I think that's one of the reoccurring questions is the ballooning of the register. I think Mr. Tibbetts just gave a pretty good example of the segregation of data in other systems. What's core in the center is just those basic ID facts that I just described and outlined.
I mean, and we've had people say, after they start to understand the concept, say, oh, well, we should add disabilities or we should add allergies. No. You can have separate registers for those purposes, and you keep that information completely segregated. The only thing that might tie those two pieces together is that ID code. So you don't, if you think about it, in that disabilities register, you don't even need to have the identity of you don't even need to have additional details, name, address, all of that.
Right.
You just, once you have the ability to ensure you're dealing with the correct person, then if you have the need to know and you have the legal basis or the consent of the user, then you can access the additional information. But it's that kind of concept, and the natural thinking is, no, you're putting all the data in one place. No, we're just taking a real small subset and putting it in one register because it's for that particular purpose of helping you be more efficient in identifying yourself.
Okay. What I think will help our audience to understanding this as well, if you could speak to some of the beneficiaries of such a system, who benefits from it, because we talk about the card itself and the registration, and that will be optional, voluntary, but let's talk about some of the beneficiaries.
Okay. So the minister mentioned that we had done some focus groups, and we've actually, between government and the public, we've conducted over 24 focus sessions on just hearing different elements. And what got teased out of a lot of those focus groups were two specific areas that there is identity problems. So it's the young who not of age to get a driver's license yet per se, but need to be able to prove who they are, whether it's to take a test as a school person, a school age person, or to even just travel within the islands. So having a basic ID for the sake of an ID allows that gap to be satisfied. On the other spectrum is the elderly, that have moved on from the connected uses like driving again, and want to do financial transactions and can't avail of two forms of ID because they either they've lost the ability to drive, and their election card doesn't suffice as a suitable form of identification.
And they have no plans for traveling, so they don't have a passport.
Correct. So just as a physical ID, this is hugely beneficial in being able to just prove who you are.
Can I just jump in there to reiterate the point I made in the prior segment of also to the Caymanian, who can now have one document once you're verified as Caymanian.
Yes.
Instead of having 4 or 5 and 6 documents, you have one document that you can present to show that you are Caymanian.
And I think the other thing that going on, you touched on earlier, Minister, around for persons that do have a passport, and you kind of alluded about needing and oftentimes a second form of ID, and especially for people or young people traveling overseas, etc. Their passport is a key element in getting back home, even, right? You try to protect your passport. I think we all do. We all have our waterproof pouches and everything for hurricanes for our passports, right? Whereas, but the ID card is designed to be more convenient to carry, and your typical users also shares less information.
I mean, you've all been away, and you're in the hotel room, and you say, well, should I carry my passport or should I not carry my passport? Here's a form of ID.
I just did that.
Precisely. Here's an ID that is convenient to carry and is not as susceptible to other knock-on effects if it was to be lost or damaged that you couldn't get back home.
Yes.
So you can identify yourself, and it gives you that option.
And then there are ancillary benefits. So those are core in terms of ID, helping particular groups identify themselves. But I think you should also come on to some of the more advanced features of technology in terms of a digital signature that can be applied.
So the digital, we call ourselves operating in the digital age, but really the transitional piece is that we send things by email and then we print it out on the other side. So we print a document, we sign it, and then we scan it back in and we send it on to the next guy to print it.
Which was once cutting edge.
Right.
Yes. We're making fun of it now, but it was once cutting edge.
That's correct.
Before it was faxing and that kind of stuff.
Here's the new paradigm. And it's sometimes a little hard to imagine if you haven't done it. But it's really easy to do. Instead of printing that document, you just open the document up. It could be on your phone, it could be on your computer. You pick where you need to sign it. You locate your signature, and then you insert the card into the card reader. Or if it's on your phone, most modern phones have tap features, and you can enter your secure PIN. Now, the PIN is only something that you know. It's anything between 4 digits to 16 digits. And only you know it. And that allows you to sign securely with a qualified signature, internationally recognized signature. When you open up a PDF document, it would actually show that this is a secure signature. And that persists across multiple signatures. So if somebody along the line broke the chain or changed something in the document, it would show that something has been tampered with.
And most of this is getting outside of us, but in terms of the technology that you utilize with looking at these documents, when you open that document and say it's something like Adobe PDF, the free version or whatever, that I've signed and I've sent to Charles and he's signed, you can now see exactly the version I signed and exactly the version he signed. So even if somebody adds comments or whatever, you can see who has signed on to those at that particular stage.
And I think also for the private sector, in terms of initial benefits, your card and the ability to consume the information digitally, it could improve accuracy in terms of data filling forms and convenience. So it's not only a government benefit where we're going to talk about efficiencies and speed gains and time savings. The eGov unit did a little time comparison where we probably could save about 2 days a year per person, time saved in just changing for the signature pieces. But in terms of the preloaded forms, just think about a card as a ability to preload a form. That's significant. The ability to prove who you are. I just had a little fender bender last week, and I was filling out insurance forms. And the amount of times that I had to put my name, my date of birth, all my details on where I lived, and I mean in one form multiple times, because each section is pertaining. If I could just prove who I am and you can associate my information as needed, I fill out a very basic set of information very quickly, and they can rely on that with assurance. And again, this is optional.
But they would have to come on board.
This is completely optional
at your option.
This is
cardholder's option.
This is cardholder's option.
Okay. Now we have a question off air, and I'm going to say to persons, if you have any comments or questions, you can send them in to us. We're planning on having the team back with us again on Monday
7:30.
At 7:30 in the morning. But they wanted to know about the verification. Who will be able to verify what's on a card? And they obviously, they may have missed the first part of the conversation when you spoke about the various layers. So, if you could
touch on it.
Yes.
Again. Okay. So, I think the verification. I'm not sure exactly which piece of the verification, but there are multiple levels of verification here. So, the first thing is, as the Minister said, the base data is a subset of the data that work holds. Right, and regards
Department of Work
of Work, that for persons that reside here, or have a right to reside, and they have been doing work to analyze, the quality of their own data to make sure to improve the accuracy in that. Then that subset of data that would get imported in will, we have mechanisms in place to look and trigger when, say, a duplicate is attempted to be entered, and how you deal with that, because you can end up with persons that do have the same name, same date of birth, but we need to make sure that we're not duplicating, and it's actually specifically a different person and that we're doing the right thing. Then, so that's getting the data in there first. But then there's the next level, which is particularly when you go to get your card or when you go through a process to be able to get access to see your own data, where you become what I would call the auditor of your own data. You get to see the data that is in there for you. And if there's a discrepancy, you can flag it up. And, we have processes to go through and verify that if let's say it's the date of birth is somehow transposed and you were born here, well, we get General Register to verify that what the correct date of birth is. If your immigration status says you're on a work permit but you're a Caymanian, you get work to verify. So because the legal entities that have responsibility for the different functions and data sets still maintain that.
Right.
This is not intended to
so if you lost your Caymanian status or something, it is up to worker to go in and update that information.
When they update it in their system, it is going to be automatically updated in the register.
So you'll always be able to see the most up-to-date information.
But because so why do you update it in the two places? Well, the thing is, remember, their data set is going to have much more data that is specific to their purposes. The data in here is only going to be just your identity data. So your immigration status is something that they will have, and they'll have the basis on which you got that immigration status and all this information. But what you'll have in the center is the status. Then, so you become the auditor. You see it. You could correct it. You can, and remember all the additional information we talk about in here, like addresses and contact details. You choose. It starts without it, and you choose to add it.
Yes.
And so it's you managing that data. Now, one of the things that is intended is that to help with like the KYC element is that you can then say, okay, I'm putting in my address, and rather than me have to verify my address with every entity, insurance companies and banks and this, that, and the other, I want to verify my address centrally, and then I can let them confirm from here that this is the accurate address. And so there's a mechanism. The law facilitates a mechanism to do that. So that could be done the same way that it's done with the banks, where proof of utility bills and other things, or where we envisage in the future is that we could establish facilities where you could consent and say, okay, I consent to you verifying my address with this utility company, and here here's my account number, and then that can be done automated. So those kinds of things are what is planned.
If I could pause you there, because I also want to kind of emphasize this point for just everyday folks. What you just described happens now. It's just that I drive over to each institution to bring the documents, have them verified, make sure that they confirm it, and then I got to drive back again and then go work between my lunch hour. What you described is a function that already occurs. We're just providing it in a digital format for your efficiency.
Yeah, and through that QR code, for example, the expectation is, obviously, these things are going to take time to mature. Processes are going to have to change. Businesses will have to confirm that they're satisfied and it meets their requirements and all these kinds of things. But you, in that scenario, you put that in, you had it verified centrally. You show up and you say, okay, here's my ID. You can, and I've chosen to share through the QR code with you this information, and they can scan that and link to and get that information. We also envisage other advanced functions, but those are going to take time to develop, like similar to how many companies you can generate your own employment letter from an EHR system, and it'll tell you your salary, it'll tell you just basic information. The ability for you to generate digitally signed PDFs that provide specific information. So you may choose that I need to prove my address, and it then allows you through technology solutions to do these kinds of things. So it's to find ways to enable the person to be more efficient, therefore have more time for themselves, and in the case of things that they're doing for their employment, benefit the employer as well.
Reduce physical time. Quickly before we go, because I want to get this point in,
Sure.
about the storage of the data, the location.
So the data, the system is designed to be deployed here. The data is stored in our various data centers locally. It is encrypted at rest. It is encrypted in motion. So when it's being transferred, etc. It is replicated between data centers. It is so it's secured in many different ways. Now, obviously, the law doesn't go into that detail. The law speaks to the data needs to be secure. Right? But those are the technology. The basic technology capabilities, and obviously you also have to be able to operate in an environment where where electricity is not available, or systems. So you still have to be able to come back down to function on paper temporarily, but that's obviously not the way that you expect to operate as a norm.
I'd just like to add that eGov and CSD have been working on this for a little while to get to this point. And they've already conducted tests in relation to the security of the system, and those tests will continue before we go live with any form of the register, if it does get passed in the House on the 7th.
And I mean, and to give a quick plug there for the Computer Services Department have a really good testing team, both functional testing and security testing. I mean, I think their security functions have identified first time discovered vulnerabilities previously.
Wow.
So it's and not in homegrown applications is what I'm saying. So it's quite a competent team, but we also use external.
Sure. I'm going to squeeze this one in real quickly, just in case the person may not have the ability to follow us again on Monday, and they wanted to know whether if someone were to lose their passport, will a card help, or will the information help in regaining it without having to go through filling out usual documents as will otherwise be required?
Excellent question.
So the passport is a travel document. The card has been designed to a travel document standard, an ICAO standard, but it is not at this moment viewed as a travel document internationally. There is capability room that we feel we can do amazing things with our border control agencies when you're, say, returning to the island in terms of claiming going through customs or even declaring your immigration status as you come back through. But an inter-island travel is going to be a very easy one.
Yeah. I think this may relate more to whether or not the passport office, what information that they hold, whether or not when you're renewing, do you have to do it all over again, or would that data base that they have there be accessible in terms of renewal
so I think,
or replacing?
So again, the concept of what's where and what passes in which directions. So the data that the passport office has doesn't pass back into the central register, and but the identity information. So, for example, the UK, which would apply to our passports, have a one name policy. So the names between the ID document and the passport have to match. If you want a passport and a name that doesn't match your ID document, you first have to get your name changed through on the ID document before you can then get a passport with that name. So there is a relationship in that respect, and it will aid you as you now have an identity document, a photo ID document, because obviously birth certificates don't qualify in that capacity, that you can use to prove who you are with the passport office. But I'm not sure that depending on what element, it doesn't automatically give you everything. However, them getting access to the register is a legitimate purpose. You could consent for them to access your register for certain information. Those are things that could be considered with the systems.
I want to say one more thing, and that is that when the systems are built and interoperating with each other, when a child is born, the workflow for immigration status, improving the Caymanian status of the child based on the parents' Caymanian status, could be enacted essentially automatically as a workflow with the relevant agencies. And that aspect can be resolved much faster and influence the speed that the Cayman passport, for instance, could be given.
Excellent. Okay, Minister, we're going to look forward to and make arrangements for you to be on again on Monday as well, because this is important information, and we can talk more about the legislation and the legislative process, as well. Folks, please stay tuned. When we return, we will be talking about aviation in the Cayman Islands, so please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
First, there was little. Then there was grand. But just maybe, the best was saved for last. Cayman Brac, the Pirates are coming! Friday, November 25th through the 27th. Friday, Heritage Day and Gimme Story at Spot Bay Community Cove starting at 10 a.m. and kickoff party at 9 p.m. at Coral Isle Club. Saturday continues with a family fun day at Scott's Dock, followed by the boat float parade starting at Buccaneers. Cut to the dock with fireworks show and after party at Tiger Bay Cafe. Sunday finishes with the Pirates Farewell lunch at the Alexander Hotel. They came, they partied, they conquered. Pirates Fest Cayman Brac, November 25th through the 27th.
60 I'm bossy with J and money. When I trip it easy, trust me. Yeah. Come on, just send some money. I instant entry. Look how you're lucky. Bossy, J and money, bossy. J and money, send you go a yard. Teen, bossy. Jamaica well bossy. 60 I'm bossy. We well Brody.
Celebrate Jamaica 60 with J and money for a chance to win a dream vacation for two to Jamaica, including airfare, resort stay, and more. Send money for a chance to win. Your loved ones will also be entered for a chance to win a brand new car. Competition runs from now until December 24th. J and money 60 and bossy enough.
Call 345-945-2014 for details. Available at J and Money locations across the Cayman Islands.
Bossy, Jamaica well bossy. 60 and bossy.
No J and bank account required.
So much happening, so fast, too much. It is hard for me to follow my health care instructions. The private counseling with West Bay Pharmacy literally saved my life.
At West Bay Pharmacy, we know how complex medications can be. Our pharmacists are delighted to offer you personalized one-on-one healthcare counseling, free medication review, therapeutic callbacks, and we will liaise with your physician to ensure you receive the best in quality medical care.
Quality of life has a whole new meaning with the right pharmacy to support you. Thank you, West Bay Pharmacy.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Now you can WhatsApp your West Bay Pharmacy prescriptions to 516-0777.
It's November, and November is Gimme Story. The Cayman National Cultural Foundation presents in your district. Gimme Story. 6 evenings of free entertainment for the entire family. November 25th through December 2nd. Featuring the best of Cayman's homegrown storytellers. For more details, visit artscayman.org or check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Cayman Culture. Remember, vote best fried fish in each district. Did I mention you get in for free? And we're starting on time. So try, so hurry up. Gimme Story. This gonna be good.
Healthcare Pharmacy, caring about your health for the past 25 years. Radio Cayman's premier health show.
Alzheimer's and dementia, are they the same disorder?
Yeah, I think that's a very important question.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Is heard on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. and on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy in Grand Harbor, where they care about your health. Transfer and refill your prescription online. Visit healthcarepharmacy.ky or call 947-8900. Healthcare Pharmacy, now with a new and second location in Governor's Square. The new Healthcare Pharmacy in Governor's Square is open Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Healthcare Pharmacy, where they care about your health.
Radio Cayman, your station of the nation, will be bringing you live coverage of the Cayman Brac Pirates Fest Boat Float Parade. It's happening tomorrow, Saturday, November 26. The pre-event coverage starts at 4:30 p.m.
It's the final sale of the year at Reflections with up to 50% savings on selected famous brands such as Nike, Reebok, Puma, US Polo, Adidas, Levi's, and Dockers pants for men and women. This holiday gift-giving season, Reflections gift certificates are the easiest way to share your love with friends and family. Levi's and Dockers holiday collection just arrived. Discover your new style and enjoy huge savings on shoes, bags, accessories, and the most fashionable clothing for all your holiday parties. Hurry in today. Purchase Reflections gift certificates for everyone on your shopping list and outfit yourself from their finest holiday collection. Don't miss up to 50% off savings at Reflections Holiday Sales Event. See yourself in Reflections. Open 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Thursday and until 9 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. Reflections is located on Shedden Road across from Napa.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're in the studio again, and we're going to be talking. We have a different topic that we'll be talking about this morning. We'll be talking about the air show that will be taking place in the Cayman Islands, and I'm going to have my guests introduce themselves to us this morning. Well-known personalities within the Cayman Islands and the aviation industry as well. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to For the Record, and let's do a personal introduction to our listening and viewing audience as well.
Good morning. My name is Richard Smith. I'm the Director General of Civil Aviation. Happy to be here this morning and have a chat about the air show coming up and aviation in general. So, assisted by my colleague.
Yes, Captain.
Hi, good morning. My name is Rex Miller, ex-Cayman Airways pilot. And first of all, good morning to everyone that's listening. So Mr. Smith invited me to accompany him today, so I'll give my input wherever is necessary. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to first give our audience brief overview of the air show. It's been more than 20 years since we had our first air show.
Yes, I think 2000 was probably the last one we had, and it's been missing. The public keeps asking when's the air show coming back. So having this opportunity to hopefully reignite that event and maybe even on an annual basis would be something that we hope will happen. So, yeah, we're very excited about it.
Mm-hmm. Now, there were several factors that influenced the air show. We can talk about the most recent one to celebrate the Queen's Jubilee, but we also know that the price of fuel, all of the various restrictions in terms of air travel and everything would have influenced the air show. But like you said, many people in the Cayman Islands enjoyed the air show, and that certainly was exemplified by the number of persons who would visit. I remember the days when we had the old chain link fence out there, the airport perimeter, and we had the ability to go on board these aircraft. And in one instance, I was able to fly on one of the older craft as well, and circumnavigate the island on that craft.
Yes, it was an event that people look forward to every year, and in keeping with our aviation history, because Cayman really has a unique and a rich aviation history, and I know we only have an hour, and we could talk about it for a long time, but we'll try to get as much in as possible.
Certainly, yes.
But yes, being able to go on board those aircraft at the time, we had good support from the U.S. military in particular, and a lot of the aerobatic displays coming down and taking people up for rides. So it was quite an event. So it started when discussions were held about celebrating the Her Majesty's 70th anniversary. So back from last year, and then the governor and the government actually said, "Well, do you think it's possible for us to have an air show?" But having been so many years, and as you rightly say, there've been things have changed. You know, the protocols and the restrictions and cost and everything else. But we thought, well, why not? Let's try it. And of course, we knew that we had something going. Hopefully, it was going to be celebrated in June, and unfortunately, it was cancelled by weather event. But the government has a resolve to say we still want to do it. Let's keep planning, and hopefully, we can still do it within the 70th year. And unfortunately, Her Majesty passed away in September. And there were discussions of should we continue. But again, coincidentally, when we looked at some of the events that was making this possible, it was also the 70th anniversary of the first landing at Orrett International Airport. So, it fell in line. Well, we might change the theme, but we're going to have an air show.
Captain Miller, anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean, I think everyone will definitely enjoy it, since there's been so many years since the last one. It'll be of a smaller scale, of course, than before, but especially just coming through the whole COVID downtime. I think it'll be a refreshing show for everyone to come out and see.
Okay.
And the timing, it was something that why December, why this time of year? Well, the 70th anniversary would be the 28th of November this year. So it was in 1952 on 20th November that we had that first landing on Roberts. It's also falls into our Cayman Thanksgiving period, end of hurricane season, getting into our Thanksgiving season. So there are many reasons for us to celebrate, and if we can celebrate with an air show, it would be.
Because traditionally it was held in June. Yes. Queen's birthday celebration.
That's right.
And we then would have the benefit usually of as well as aircraft. We'd have seaborne vessels out there as well, members of our British Armed Services, and so many of the young children would be thrilled about the drills that were performed, as well. Okay, so can we talk about some of the aircraft that have always been displayed, and some that will be displayed during this show? Private aircraft, whether or not they will be private aircraft, whether or not they will be nationally owned aircraft, or aircraft that are used in combat.
Also, unlike the air shows of the past, where we were supported heavily by the U.S. Air Force in particular, because people like to see jets, hear a lot of noise, see them whizzing by, and unfortunately, we don't have those opportunities now with the support that we had back then. Particularly, we had the F-16s out of Homestead Air Force Base, and there were a lot of relations back then. We had people like Winston Hendricks, who was very instrumental in making those arrangements through his contacts throughout the U.S. And a lot of the bases were anxious to come out and visit us. We have aircraft like the C-5A, which is at the time the largest aircraft in the world, coming out and actually flying. And, I mean, that was just amazing. Those days are behind us, I think, as far as getting that support, but it's something we're working towards, that hopefully in the future we'll get those support from U.S. Air Force or the British. we talk about one of the dreams to have people like the Red Arrows at one point, the Blue Angels, but you have to book those so far in advance.
I can imagine, yes.
So on this occasion, we do have some support from the U.S. C-130s, and the Royal Air Force are actually sending a C-17 as well that will be on static display. So they won't be performing in the flying display. So the flying display will be from private aerobatic performers, but we do have some military jet trainers that are from a private air team that will perform as well.
Okay, gentlemen, we're going to take a break for our headline news, which is very short. When we return, I want to take some time to talk about the opportunities that the air show will also provide, especially for those persons who are interested in aviation. The opportunities that they will have, they get a chance to see tour planes and stuff that they would not otherwise. And then what I want you to do also, and this isn't probably part of the talking points in the agenda, but both of you as aviators, and you have created a pathway for other Caymanians, and we've seen in our national airline the number of Caymanian pilots that have been trained and employed there. Some have gone on. I want to talk about your life experiences and how what you can say to motivate and to help those persons who may be interested in the aviation field as well. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Later today, MPs will select a new Speaker of the House and a new Deputy Speaker in a special session of Parliament. A government motion regarding the composition of the Public Accounts Committee is also set on the agenda. Tune into our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, from 10 a.m. to hear the proceedings live. Former German Chancellor Angela Merkel has defended her policy towards Russia prior to the February invasion of Ukraine, saying she had run out of power to influence Vladimir Putin. She said she had tried to convene European talks with the Russian president and French president in the summer of 2021. She told Spiegel News, quote, "But I didn't have the power to get my way." After 4 terms as chancellor, Mrs. Merkel left office in December. And Israel's far-right Jewish Power Party has signed a coalition agreement with Benjamin Netanyahu's Likud party. Its leader, Itamar Ben-Gvir, has been set to become national security minister under the deal. The ultra-nationalist politician is known for his anti-Arab comments and has a past conviction for racism. It comes after the party and its religious and far-right allies won a majority in an election earlier this month, marking a dramatic comeback for Mr. Netanyahu. Those are your headlines. I'm Carsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle. And with the Toyota Corolla Cross, now Advanced Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design in a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vant Motors, Walkers Road.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you. From cookware to stereos, from power tools to plumbing supplies. Yeah, we got the best goods with the best price and a service to make you smile. Kirk's Home Center, we got a great deal in store for you.
After more than 20 years, the Cayman Islands Air Show is back. It's all eyes to the sky on Saturday, December 3rd for a thrilling air show on 7 Mile Public Beach. Witness amazing aerobatic maneuvers as world-class pilots put on a stunning show. Then see the planes and meet the aviators at the Island Air Hangar. Parking permitted at designated sites with free shuttle buses to the events. For all the details and event lineup, visit CaymanAirShow.com. The Cayman Islands Air Show returns Saturday, December 3rd, 10 a.m. at 7 Mile Public Beach and 3 p.m. at the Island Air Hangar. First, there was little. Then there was grand. But just maybe, the best was saved for last. Cayman Brack, the Pirates are coming! Friday, November 25th through the 27th. Friday, Heritage Day and Gimme Story at Spot Bay Community Cove starting at 10 a.m. and kickoff party at 9 p.m. at Coral Isle Club. Saturday continues with a family fun day at Scott's Dock, followed by the boat float parade starting at Buccaneers. Cut to the dock with fireworks show and after party at Tiger Bay Cafe. Sunday finishes with the Pirates Farewell lunch at the Alexander Hotel. They came, they partied, they conquered. Pirates Fest Cayman Brack, November 25th through the 27th.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system for information that matter. For the record with Orrett Connor continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're talking about the upcoming air show here in the Cayman Islands, and you would have heard the commercial just now on it as well. It is my pleasure to have in the studio two trailblazers in the field of aviation here in the Cayman Islands. Former captain, retired now, Captain Rex Miller, and also in the studio with us, the Director General of the Cayman Islands Civil Aviation Authority, Mr. Richard Smith. Gentlemen, before I hand the mic back over to you, one of our listeners has said that Mr. Winston Hendricks, whose name you mentioned earlier, is still alive. And he still has those contacts that he had in aviation before as well. He lives in Florida now. And you should feel free to reach out to him at any point in time that he's prepared to give his help. I just want to say to that person who sent that to us, if you can then provide us with any contact information in relation to Mr. Hendricks, that would be appreciated as well. So, gentlemen, the opportunities that those either up and coming or those persons who aspire to be involved in the aviation industry here in the Cayman Islands. Tell us, what this air show will help them to do. But we're going to take this conversation a little bit further as well and talk about the importance of our national carrier, Cayman Airways, and the need for continued development in the Cayman Islands to continue that tradition, where most, if not all, of our pilots employed at Cayman Airways have some roots with the Cayman Islands as well. Gentlemen, over to you. Yeah, Cap, if you can, talk about your career in aviation, working for Cayman Airways, what inspired you? What gave you that interest in the first instance?
Yeah, okay. Before that, I'll just put emphasis on the history of our Cayman aviators. So, like the seamen, or Caymanians that went abroad to make a living as seamen, our initial aviators also had to go abroad to seek employment before there was a Cayman Airways.
Mm-hmm.
And so our aviators basically started out in the mid 60s area. People such as Churchill Bodden, Captain Churchill Bodden, Captain Wilbur Bing Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
They both went abroad, worked at BWIA at the time, and then in the case of Captain Bodden, Air Jamaica. And when Mr. Jim Bodden formed Cayman Airways, he then asked those guys to come back to help facilitate getting Cayman Airways off the ground.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so they were our original pioneers that paved the way for the rest of us. And during that same time, too, there was Captain Christopher McLaughlin,
yes,
Captain Harrison Bothwell, Captain David Black, that they were flying the DC-3. And so that was like our first group of Cayman aviators.
Mm-hmm.
We also had Mr. Carlton Bodden back then. He didn't fly for Cayman Airways, but he was flying charters, but nonetheless another Cayman aviator.
Yes.
So that original group of Cayman Airways employees or pilots that helped Mr. Jim Bodden form Cayman Airways would be Captain Wilbur Thompson, Harrison Bothwell, Christopher McLaughlin, David Black, Churchill Bodden. And then the next set started to come along, which would have been like Tom Swaby, Kel Thompson, and myself.
Mm-hmm. And Captain Eugene would have fallen in,
Captain,
there, in
Eugene,
the second category or the first, right?
He would be at the bottom of the first type
Mm-hmm.
thing. Yeah. So that was the original group, and then I think somehow I kind of became an icon from my generation. And so my generation came along then in the late 70s, early 80s. And then the next group, late 80s into the late 90s. And we're coming up on retirements now from my generation. Of course, our mentors have left Cayman Airways, retired sometime now. And my generation became the last group to grasp the mentorship of the original Cayman aviators.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And our job, while we have been there, was to pass on that foundation to all the other young Caymanians that joined Cayman Airways since, and I was honored to have the opportunity to be a mentor and influence a lot of younger Caymanians as they started their aviation careers and came into Cayman Airways,
Mm-hmm,
so in the different positions that I held, in addition to my flying, I did some management jobs from time to time, primarily head of training and standards, 2 different stints for like 2.5 years each, and then acting vice president of flight operations for just over 2 years. So in those office jobs, there are some office jobs that kind of require the experience of pilots. And while none of us that love flying want to do anything other than flying, there are times where we need to step up for airline and country and do these positions. Otherwise, then persons from outside will be brought in to do them,
Yes, yes.
So in these positions, I was able to influence a lot of younger Caymanians. And to cap it off, then, we've produced to date now like maybe 60 Caymanian aviators, Some guys have gone abroad to broaden their horizons.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And but 90% of those guys all had their foundation at Cayman Airways And it was obvious as these guys went abroad that Cayman Airways provided a solid foundation, because none of the guys had any problems succeeding wherever they went.
And have actually excelled in terms of promotion-wise as well. Huh?
Yeah. And in recent times, I've had an opportunity to have conversation with two young and aspiring aviators that I can tell they're passionate about it. And I think going forward, we need to offer more financial support to the youngsters that have this dream. And it's also going to be a need as we move forward, because it's going to be a shortage of pilots worldwide for quite a few years yet. And as my age group start to retire, then we need to bring those younger pilots in on the bottom, so that we can continue to keep Cayman Airways Caymanized, because that's one thing we've been able to do at Cayman Airways. We've basically been able to keep the cockpit Caymanian, and I'm really proud of that, you know.
And your customers, your passengers, they all appreciate that as well. They feel that air of confidence that they have when they know that there's a Caymanian in that, or there are Caymanians in that cockpit as well. So, okay, we're going to take the commercial break. When we return, we're going to hear from the Director General of the Civil Aviation Authority, which is the regulatory arm for aviation in the Cayman Islands, and I believe involved in licensing of pilots as well. So we can talk more about that. We want to talk about the importance of Cayman Airways as well, because believe it or not, there are still persons out there who question the viability of Cayman Airways, and I would say to them, obviously, you weren't here after Hurricane Ivan, otherwise you wouldn't be raising those sorts of questions. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
West Bay, home to Barkas National Park, the touristy flair, a family community, a political powerhouse. From sports enthusiasts to car aficionados, affection for silver thatch rope. No matter how far you may venture, West Bay will always be where the heart is. Home will always be in West Bay. West Bay Pharmacy, caring for your home and your family. West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient, quality care is just around the corner.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay.
No one can stop me when I taste the
Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Black Friday low price specials have started at Brand Source Home Gallery. Save on selected gas and electric laundry centers and laundry pairs. GE 27-inch gas laundry center only $1,199 and the electric $1,399. GE 24-inch front load laundry pair $1,879. Save up to $700 with special Black Friday prices. Now is the opportunity to replace the old laundry and save big. Hurry, limited quantities and these low prices end Saturday the 26th. Visit Brand Source Home Gallery at 209 Dorsey Drive in Industrial Park or call 623-5000 for details.
We are now in the hurricane season, and to survive a hurricane, you need to be informed. If you have been informed by official sources that a hurricane is approaching the Cayman Islands, and you live in a low-lying area that is prone to flooding or near the beaches, which may be swept by high tides or storm waves, please seek a safe place and high ground. If the only way for you to get to a safe place is a road that is also likely to be flooded during a storm, please leave home early. Don't run the risk of being stranded. This has been a public service announcement from your community station, Radio Cayman.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're talking about the air show here in the Cayman Islands. but we are also talking about aviation in general, getting some background information. That conversation has taken place with two of our icons in the aviation industry here in the Cayman Islands, Captain Rex Miller and the Director General of the Civil Aviation Authority, Mr. Richard Smith. One of our listeners wanted to know about the safety precautions that are in place, that will be in place during the air show, and I believe that I've seen something about the some guidelines in relation to the flying of drones and stuff like that, as well during the air show. So if at some point in time that can be mentioned, we would certainly appreciate that as well. But over to you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, O.C. I should address that question right off, since we're talking about your show. Unlike the old days, there are lots of things that have to be taken into consideration these days, not the least being drone activity. And we're very conscious of the risks that they pose to these types of activities. So for safety, there's been a larger area from the marine side that has been declared as unrestricted zone. If you recall, in the old days, you had boats that would almost park right under the flight line and watch it. It was a great place to watch a show. But the safety parameters have been expanded to have an exclusion zone much larger to mitigate any kind of risk associated with persons on the water. And there's also what we call a red line as to where the pilots will go out the day before and actually observe and practice not to cross that red line in towards the shoreline. From the drone's perspective, we actually have in place a drone detection system, and we'll be publicizing the risks and asking people to have their exercise a sense of safety. The operators, some people are unaware that it might cause a risk, and we try to educate as much as we can. But we do have a drone detection system in place that we can actually detect the drone, track it back to the operator, and there's substantial fines for persons who are caught operating any kind of drone equipment, especially in the area at the time. So there's a restriction on movement within the airspace at that time. Yes, we have commercial activity that we have to accommodate, but outside of that, we do have a restriction on the airspace surrounding the display area and the holding patterns for aircraft involved in the flight display. Okay. One of our listeners have commented, and I know we've spoken about the given a perspective about the earlier aviators, especially those pilots in Cayman Airways, and someone mentioned the late Captain Robert Hamity as well, who, while not being an indigenous, Caymanian, certainly fitted into our society, quite well, and became an icon, himself, as well. Captain Miller, you want to speak a little bit about late Captain Hamity?
Yeah, again, Captain Hamity, of course, was one of my mentors, and he was part of that original group that helped form Cayman Airways, because even though we had a few Caymanians, Captain Churchill Bodden, Captain Wilbur Thompson, able to come back and assist, and we still fell short of the numbers needed, and thus people like Captain Hamity, Captain Joe Mahmood, Captain Anthony Phillips, Captain Churchill Bodden solicited those guys who were his peers at Air Jamaica to also come back and join the Cayman Airways team and assist.
Excellent. So we're going to switch gears again and talk about the importance of having a national airline, and again talk about the importance of Because people will say, well, oh, Cayman Airways, you only have 4 or 5 aircrafts or whatever. Why do you need so many pilots? And I happen to have one of our cycling colleagues who is also a pilot, Mr. Ricky Worms. And, you know, sometimes when we don't see him on the road, we know exactly what's happening. He's either flying that day or he is flown, and as a result of that, you know, needs to get some rest before he's able to come out, you know, on the bike.
Yes, and, you know, see, we do have a rich aviation history, and aviation is the heart and soul of the success of the Cayman Islands from a tourism perspective, from a financial industry perspective. Without reliable, safe air transport, we wouldn't be where we are today. So we have to keep that in the back of our minds at all time, that for the sustainability of our continued success, we have to have safe, reliable air transport, and it has to be dependable. And being dependable means that we have to provide our own. We can't be dependent on outside companies to facilitate it. They do it not because of love of Cayman, they do it for their own commercial reasons. Yes. So, as you mentioned, for persons who weren't here for Ivan, they wouldn't have appreciated what the value of Cayman Airways to this country. So we could talk about this for a long time. We are very passionate about having Cayman Airways as our airline, and you know, for those who might think that the government spends too much, from my own opinion, you can't put a value on what our airline does for us and our whole economic success. But going back to a bit of the history and the opportunities, coincidentally, Captain Miller and I are from the same vintage. In 1976, he joined the pilot side, and straight out of high school, I joined the air traffic side.
Okay.
So our paths kind of, they were always there, you know, me being a control and he being an upcoming pilot. And, you know, my decision to join aviation back then, which I never grew up wanting to be a pilot or anything else, but it created many opportunities for me. Not the least being that in later years, would have been in the early 90s, Captain Miller and I flew together. We flew the 737 together, and maybe he might want to talk about that a bit later. Sure. But our paths did come back, and we had forces, had those experiences together. And now that Captain Miller has retired, we were able to have him join the Civil Aviation Authority as our flight operations inspector for the regulatory side. You mentioned the pilot licensing and the oversight of flight operations, and it's people like Captain Miller who brings that rich experience that you can't train for that, you can't buy it. So he brings a wealth of knowledge to the regulatory side that we hope to have him on board with us for many years to come.
Yeah, and as Director General, you have to have some specific knowledge of the airline industry and aircraft as well?
Yes.
Because I remember several years ago there were certain certifications that you, when you were visiting the UK, that you had been stationed up there at that time.
Yes, at the time I was pursuing.
This is 1987.
Pre-commercial license for and some accident investigation training, but yes, as Director General, having a core, what they call one of the core disciplines in aviation, whether it's engineering or for flying or air traffic control, is a good basis foundation or required foundation for having that role. So, like I said earlier, it opened a lot of opportunities for me, and we're very passionate, both of us on each side, is to mentoring and encouraging young Caymanians to to take the opportunities if presented to them to go into aviation. So, you know, I was fortunate in that my experience took me through air traffic into flight airport operations, because in the old days the civil aviation department ran the airports as well. And it wasn't until 2004 that we separated and became a purely regulatory authority. But yes, airport operations, flight operations, and all those other opportunities that we can encourage people to embrace. So, you know, it's not just about being a pilot, a flight attendant, and air traffic controllers. The industry is rich. It's very rich, and even though it's over 100 years old since first manned flight, we're moving into a different era of aviation. We're now moving into unmanned. That's going to explode in the future. So it's almost like we're starting a whole new sector again. But
okay. Well, we'll take a commercial break there, and that's a good point for us to start when we return and talk a little bit about how the Cayman Islands aviation industry has evolved since the first commercial flight that we had at Owen Roberts International Airport as well. Folks, please stay tuned. The conversation with Mr. Richard Smith and Captain Rex Miller will continue after this short commercial break.
First, there was little. Then there was grand. But just maybe, the best was saved for last. Cayman Brac, the Pirates are coming! Friday, November 25th through the 27th. Friday, Heritage Day and Gimme Story at Spot Bay Community Cove starting at 10 a.m. and kickoff party at 9 p.m. at Coraline Club. Saturday continues with a family fun day at Scott's Dock, followed by the boat float parade starting at Buccaneers. Cut to the dock with fireworks show and after party at Tiger Bay Cafe. Sunday finishes with the Pirates farewell lunch at the Alexander Hotel. They came, they partied, they conquered. Pirates Fest Cayman Brac, November 25th through the 27th.
So much happening, so fast, too much. It is hard for me to follow my health care instructions. The private counseling with West Bay Pharmacy literally saved my life.
At West Bay Pharmacy, we know how complex medications can be. Our pharmacists are delighted to offer you personalized one-on-one healthcare counseling, free medication review, therapeutic callbacks, and we will liaise with your physician to ensure you receive the best in quality medical care.
Quality of life has a whole new meaning with the right pharmacy to support you. Thank you, West Bay Pharmacy.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Now you can WhatsApp your West Bay Pharmacy prescriptions to 516-0777.
JN money touchdown. Send the money now. Reach wow. You say you need some money. JN money, I can send it in a hurry. Get through quick when you come collect your cash, or use a money card and swipe it in a flash. Send funds to any bank, yeah. Pay your bills quick, yeah. Low fees, you know what it, yeah. JN money, we a pick, yeah. Send and receive funds at any JN Money location. It's fast, affordable, and convenient. Money touchdown with JN Money. Send funds to any bank, yeah. Pay your bills quick, yeah. Low fees, you know what it, yeah. JN Money, we a pick, yeah.
Call 345-945-2014 for details. Available at JN Money locations across the Cayman Islands.
It's that time of year again when our spelling bees are buzzing around with activity. Join us at the Lions Center on Wednesday, November 30th to show your support for our best young spellers during the 40th staging of the Lions Club of Grand Cayman's secondary spelling bee competition. The spell-off begins at 10 a.m. Don't be late. Brought to you by the Department of Education Services and the Lions Club of Grand Cayman.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're talking about the upcoming air show here in the Cayman Islands. And, we will give you more information. We will talk about these shows, schedule, the new dates and everything. We will talk about that. But meanwhile, we're talking about aviation in general in the Cayman Islands as well, and talking about our storied history as far as aviation is concerned. You heard Mr. Richard Smith, Director General, earlier speak about the fact, that aviation opening up the Cayman Islands. And when the advice that we got from the experts when the Cayman Islands were looking to put themselves on the map was that if you want to open up your tourism industry, you have to have a way to get the people here. You have to have, an airport, and then you have to have the access for airlines to come in here. We have been extremely fortunate that, at the end of the day, we have our national carrier, Cayman Airways, who's out there competing and also occupying their space in the Cayman Islands as far as aviation is concerned as well. So one of our listeners wanted to know who was the first female pilot with Cayman Airways. So if you could sort of explain that, that would be helpful as well.
Okay, so first female pilot at Cayman Airways is Miss Gisela Ebanks. She's the first to be on the 737, and she was hired in 2010. Since then, there's been 4 more female pilots brought on board at Cayman Airways, and the 5th one is now in training.
Okay.
And one of our female pilots is also captain on the sub, which is Crystal Godet from Cayman Brac.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really happy to see the percentage of female pilots increasing at Cayman Airways.
But also in that vein, OC, whilst that was specifically to do with Cayman Airways, we've had female pilots flying commercially within the islands before in Island Air. So, we need to recognize that there's always been opportunities explored from that gender as well. It's a lot of times people think, well, it's a man's world, but no, those barriers have been broken, and rightly so. And the industry has recognized the values that are brought by everyone to the industry. So, but yeah, from our small industry, we've had female pilots and Miss Carolyn Bawden, who was Captain Carlton Bawden's daughter. She was also flew with Island Air back then, and then we had Vita Rocket who used to fly as well. So we've had female pilots around with us for quite some time.
Okay. We do have a caller. Okay, we'll grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Ossie. Good morning, Richie and Wednesday. I just heard Richie say, because I was calling to say, as far as I can recall, Vita Rocket were the first female pilot with Cayman Airways. Because she used to fly on the inter-island route.
Okay.
Yeah, and John Miller, you want to take that? Yes, and we mentioned Vita as well, because Vita did train with Cayman Airways. Can't remember the years way back when, but she also flew for Island Air as well. So and Carolyn Bawden. So I mean, when we talk about commercial flying in the islands, we always revert to Cayman Airways in particular, and sometimes we forget that we had another operator that used to fly here as well. So, but no, thank you for that. And like I said, there's a lot of history in the aviation industry. A lot of it that we have some recorded. We have in written format in a small booklet, but is something that we certainly could expand on, and it should be something that we do. Maybe one of these days when I retire, I'll sit down and put my memories together.
Before that, because it's not only aviation history, it's a lot of our history, Richard, because of the fact that it's verbal rather than written, and as people pass, as generations pass, it goes into more, it becomes hazy,
That's true.
So it's good that people, while they still got a good mind and still able, to record these things so that it will be there, because, it goes easy to forget,
That's true.
The pace of how we going, Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I just want to drop that into
Yes.
give me her plug.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Yeah, and they didn't leave her out.
Yeah. All right.
Take care, my friend. Have a great day. Have a great day. So, gentlemen, some historical points about Cayman Airways, and I think you may have mentioned some of these before. 1968 was the year of the birth of our airlines, Cayman Airways. And then the international routes history. Cayman to Kingston in 1968, Cayman to Miami in 1972, and some of our newest routes that we have. Most recent one is to Los Angeles as well. But Cap, we want you to talk about your experiences and some of your favorite moments in flying, and if there are any incidents of interest or significance, any unusual situations that you may have experienced as a pilot with Cayman Airways, Captain Miller?
Well, again, I was very fortunate for the many years I flew to basically count on one hand, maybe two, the amount of non-normal situations I had. In flying, you refer to anything that's not normal. It's either a non-normal or an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
So the non-normal moments that I might have had was, as a first officer, lightning strikes of the airplane, hail encounter, diversions, mainly weather-related. As a captain, 3 hydraulic failures, 1 in the 727, 2 on the 737, 300. Again, and 1 engine in-flight shutdown in the 737, 200. Several diversions, mainly weather-related. But at the end of the day, Mother Nature is the biggest challenge to flying. So I've had a lot of dark and stormy days where the challenges of Mother Nature, it's too many to actually list, but yeah. So dealing with Mother Nature is the biggest challenge that I've concluded to flying. Many challenging moments with relation to Mother Nature.
Yes. Now, while we're on it, there had been some conversation about birds. And we saw recently where a military jet had to turn back in the U.S. because they had flown through a flock of birds as well. Many people had questions about the pond that was at the western end of the runway. And I think that was eventually filled. Between you and Mr. Smith can talk about the importance of keeping the area clear, from things like birds.
Yes, well, see, wildlife threat to aviation is real in many instances. In some jurisdictions, it's actually wildlife on the ground, but birds are everywhere, and birds and aviation don't mix per se. There are lots of methods employed to try and deter the risks of birds, and it's quite challenging. You'll pass the Owen Roberts Airport at times, and you'll hear a loud boom, and it's a bang that's it's emanated from a propane gas loud banger that it's intended to sound like a gunshot or whatever and scare the birds. In short order, birds get used to that sound and they ignore it. So it's not one method that's used. You mentioned the ponds. Yes, for quite some time, the ponds being there was a high risk. They're now filled in. But if we go to Cayman Brac, we have a similar situation with the ponds right along the south end of the runway. And in fact, we have probably more bird strikes in Cayman Brac than we have in the two other islands. We have the issue in Little Cayman because we have the Ramsar site, the Bouvier Sanctuary, just to the east of the airstrip. So the risk of birds are real. There are many things that are employed to deter the birds, and of course there are environmental protocols that you have to observe as well. So everything that is can be done is being looked at as to how we can mitigate this risk on the three islands.
Excellent. Okay, we do have a caller on hold. Ms. Susan, let's take the commercial break first, and then when we return, we will take that caller. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle. And with the Toyota Corolla Cross now at Vant Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design in a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vant Motors, Walkers Road.
Black Friday low price specials have started at Brand Source Home Gallery. Save on selected gas and electric laundry centers and laundry pairs. GE 27-inch gas laundry center only $1,199 and the electric $1,399. GE 24-inch front load laundry pair $1,879. Save up to $700 with special Black Friday prices. Now is the opportunity to replace the old laundry and save big. Hurry, limited quantities and these low prices end Saturday the 26th. Visit Brand Source Home Gallery at 209 Dorsey Drive in Industrial Park or call 623-5000 for details.
Hey, matey, how do you call a pirate? With an iPhone. Ha ha ha. Pirates Fest 2022 is here.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We're on the last leg of the show this morning. We're talking about the air show here in the Cayman Islands that will be taking place from the 3rd and the 4th of December. And we will talk more about the schedule. The conversation is taking place with Captain Rex Miller and the Director General of the Civil Aviation Authority, Mr. Richard Smith. We do have a caller. Let's grab that caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record. Okay, no one there at this point in time. So we have about 13 minutes left. We want to ensure that you cover everything that you want to cover in relation to the show. So we can start with the dates and then we can talk about the various aircraft, the protocols that are in place, as well for persons. And if that caller calls back, maybe we will be able to entertain their call as well. Gentlemen, over to you.
So, we'll see for the display on the 3rd. What's envisioned is that we'll have an air show in the morning and a static display in the afternoon at Owen Roberts, and then on the 4th, we'll go to Kim and Brack. It'll be a smaller show, but they might have a richer show in the sense of the parachute teams that are expected to perform. So, just to mention a few of what's expected on the 3rd. We have a number of talented air sport pilots that are coming in. So we have the Red Bull Air Force, they call themselves, and they're very famous for their air races and a lot of events that they perform. For those who follow the events of Red Bull, you might have read recently of the exchange of pilots attempt that they did midair recently, where two pilots jumped from their aircraft to try and jump into the change pilots in midair, and one was successful. The other one didn't get into the airplane, and the airplane eventually went to the ground. But these the type of things that these guys do. They're highly professional in what they do and risk takers. So we'll have the Red Bull Air Force doing some performances. We have some skydivers. A team called the Fast Track Skydiving Team, which is a large parachute team that will be jumping. I think it's 12 parachutists will be coming down. They'll be coming down with large flags that are specially designed, a Cayman Islands flag that they'll be holding coming down, followed by the Union Jack behind it. And while they're coming down, we'll have the aircraft circling them with smoke.
Wow.
So it'll be quite spectacular to see that diving team. And then we have a Skip Stewart, a trick flyer, who's flying a Pitts special. And it'll just, for those of you who recall the shows that we had previously with Freddie Cabanas and his Pitts specials, I had the pleasure of flying with Freddie when he used to come down and perform, and you had to have a good stomach, or you leave the contents in that airplane on occasion with him. So we have Skip who's coming, and he will be just doing amazing stuff with his special. And then we have the Q-On Air Sports Team, and that's the closest we'll get for a military flying display. They'll be flying military trainer aircraft. There's the L-39, which is a Czechoslovakian trainer, and the other two trainers are Italian Machete aircraft that they'll be performing in. So they won't be as loud as your F-16s, and but they'll give us we expect quite a performance from them. Other aircraft involved is we have the Beech Staggerwing. The Beech Staggerwing is a aircraft from the 1940s era. It's a biplane, and it was used in World War II. When the one that's coming will have the Royal Air Force insignia on it. So no loops and everything, but it'd be great to see it fly by.
Yes, yeah.
And of course, we have the PBY Catalina. Part of the event with the Catalina, because it was the PBY Catalina that was the first commercial aircraft landing on the 28th of November 1952. So we'll be replicating that event. We'll having a landing on the 28th with the Catalina, with a reception at Owen Roberts to commemorate it on that day.
Great.
And Then we have the Royal Air Force C-17, which is a large military transport aircraft, beautiful aircraft. It'll be in the static, and the public will have a chance to go on board. And likewise, the U.S. Air Force will be providing 2 C-130 aircraft that will be in the static lineup. So it's a much smaller show than we've had in the past, but we hope this will be the event that will reignite, hopefully an annual air show event, and we're really excited about being able to get it started again.
Excellent. I think the caller has rejoined us. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, O.C. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you, sir?
This is Arden. Good morning, East Ender, Northsider.
Good morning, East Ender. This is Northsider.
I just wanted to call up to say, like many Caymanians, I am extremely proud of you two guys. Richard, you went to school with me. Rex, you grew up in East End. I'm going to, you like to call it. You don't want to say it East End. But two of you are shining examples that Caymanians can do anything. And when they're in charge, they deal with what has to be done. Richard, you have kept this country safe when it comes to aviation because of being a stickler for it. Rex, when Caymanians walk board Cayman Airways and they saw you in that left seat, there was a sigh of relief. That means a lot to Caymanians. Do not underestimate what both of you have done for this country and the contributions you both have made. And I hope that long may those contributions be made. I know you all had your challenges, and more so now, Richard, you have yours with trying to keep this country safe. There was a time when you could basically do it without any interruption from these conservationists. Now they have taken things like bird life as more important than human life. Richard, I beg of you to continue being a stickler for safety as you have always done. And I will continue to be proud of you. Now you got Trixie there. That's another stickler for safety. So
Yes.
I have no worries about that. And know that I am behind you guys, especially on that matter, because this country has had a rich history of aviation because of the two of you. And we have had, one or two accidents, maybe three I can recall in this country's history. Richard, you may correct me if I'm wrong, but I am very proud of you and know that I'm behind you. And I am not one to put bird life more important than human life. And whatever we have to do, that needs to be done. Thank you guys very much. And on behalf of all those Caymanians that you made feel safe, I want to publicly say thank you very much for your commitment to this country and your chosen field and the people of this country. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, caller. Thank you as well.
Thank you,
And one of our listeners said, got to find it. They spoke about the fact that whenever they stepped on board Cayman Airways and they knew that Captain Miller, was the pilot, that they felt so extremely safe and comfortable as well. Okay, so I want to give both of you an opportunity for some, closing comments and observations as well, and we'll start with you, Captain Miller.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to be here today, and I'm a true Caymanian, so I hope that in my new capacity at the Civil Aviation Authority that I will still be able to continue to mentor younger Caymanians in the aviation industry.
Okay, Mr. Richard?
Yes, OC, thank you for the opportunity to be here. We came specifically to talk about the air show, but you know, when you're passionate about something, as both Captain Millen are for aviation and for Cayman Aviation in particular, something we're very proud of our the history of our industry locally, and you know, we could talk for a long time, but we're glad that we've had the opportunity to hopefully reignite the air show and hope that it'll become an annual event. So we want to encourage the public. The one thing that, you know, we have no control of the weather,
Yes.
and we had to postpone in June because of a weather event. So we're hoping that we'll have great weather for this event next week, and we encourage the public to come out, get along the beach and enjoy the view.
And remind them of the dates as well, what will be
yes.
taking place, the 3rd and the 4th.
So the 3rd at 10 o'clock along 7 Mile Beach, and then on the 4th in Cayman Brac. The 3rd at 7 Mile Beach for the air display, and then in the afternoon from 3 p.m. for the static display at Owen Roberts. So we're cognizant of the traffic issues. Arrangements have been put in place for parking at the old caboose site. There's some park and ride sites as well. Kamana Bay, Owen Roberts has acquired some additional parking space on the north side of the long-term parking lot at Owen Roberts, so people will be able to park there for the static display. The police will be out in to assist with traffic direction. So yes, we know we have a traffic problem, but we're doing everything we can to mitigate the movement between the air display and the static display in the afternoon. And then over to Cayman Brac then on the 4th. Like I said, it will be a smaller show. The one aircraft I didn't mention was a C-47, the Tico Bell. And Tico Bell, it goes back to the 1940s vintage, and actually was involved in World War II and did stints with the events at Normandy and other areas. So it brings with it a rich history, and that will be in the static display. And this aircraft will also be used by the fast track skydiving team as the aircraft to jump from. I also need to mention that our own Cayman Islands helicopters, Jerome will be in the show. MRCU will be there with their thrust sprayer. In fact, Jerome will be using his helicopter to drop the team from Red Bull for the skydiving part of their show. So you know, we have a lineup of our own local aircraft that will be participating in the flying display as well. So I'd like to also take an opportunity to thank a few people,
the partners and stuff like that. Yes.
So the sponsors in particular, we have the DART organization that has contributed and sponsored a tremendous contribution to this event, and we really would like to thank them for all that they're doing. The Cayman Islands Department of Tourism, who are taking care of the ground events. We're taking care of the air events, and in conjunction with the Cayman Islands Airports Authority as well, because now it's their celebration, their 70th that we're celebrating, and the Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture and Heritage, who have contributed generously from their budget. So we really appreciate all that they're doing. And the Cabinet Office, Sam Rose has been the glue to pull all this together and lead the events as he started out with the Queen's Jubilee. So want to thank the Cabinet Office for pulling this together.
Excellent. And again, we want to remind you, if you want to find out more information, if you need additional information about the air show, you can go to CaymanAirShow.com, on Facebook.com. You can on Facebook you can do Facebook.com/Cayman Islands Air Show, and Instagram.com you can query Cayman Islands Air Show as well. So for additional information, and of course on the trying to make sure I have the correct date, that I think it's the 2nd of December, we will have the director of the Cayman Islands Airport Authority, Mr. Albert Anderson, and Mr. Norman Borden will be on the show with us as well, and we look forward to that conversation. So, gentlemen, again, thanks for being here. Thanks for your service to the people of the Cayman Islands as well. Thanks for being role models for many of those who are in the aviation industry as well, and we hope and we trust that you will continue to serve as role models for those wishing to come on board, as well. Very large footsteps to follow into, but you have proven that it can be done. Like Mr. Arden McLean said, that when we're ready, we can do anything that we want to do and accomplish whatever we want to as well. I won't have any closing comments other than to remind persons that the special meeting of Parliament taking place at 10 o'clock this morning will be carried live on 105.3 FM right here on Radio Cayman. So feel free to join them as well. And remember to join Sterling Dwayne Ebanks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the record, proudly brought to you by Pirates Fest 2022. Stay in the know. Get the full event lineup at piratesfestcayman.com.
Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health. And JN Money. From abroad to yard. Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the